Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to Stately Vaughan Manor. And today, it's another thrill-packed episode of my 100 Favorite Books project. This project, where I take my list of 100 favorite books. I have a list of 100 favorite books. I made a video about it that I'll link down below like I always do in these videos. Anyway, I'll take a book from the list, and I will try to find the best edition I can of that book. Well, the best edition for me anyway. And what I try to do is I get the best edition I can of that, and all the other editions that I have lying around the manor, I will just unhaul all those, with some exceptions. Today's episode has a pretty big exception because today we're talking about Dracula, Bram Stoker's 1897 vampire masterpiece, Dracula, which was the first novel that I ever read. And I was pretty young when I read Dracula. Really young when I read Dracula. Didn't know exactly what was going on in Dracula, but I loved it. And I've read it almost every year since. I read Dracula over and over again. It is definitely one of my favorite books. And so it came in pretty high on that list. This is an exception, though, because there are a couple other editions of Dracula that I'm going to be keeping for specific reasons. Most notably, this one. This is the new Annotated Dracula that was annotated with notes by Leslie S. Klinger, which is probably the greatest edition of Dracula ever. I did a video on that, which I'll also link below if you're curious about that book, the new Annotated Dracula. And why wouldn't you be? It's fantastic. The only thing with that book, though, is that it's packed so full of notes that sometimes the notes just go on for pages before it gets back to the text, that the text itself is a little bit busy. So if you just want to read the book, if you're kind of OCD like me, and you just want to read the book, that can kind of, see, for me, because of the way my brain works, I'll have to read everything on the page. And so I just wanted a nice, clean text of Dracula in a fantastic edition. I'm also going to keep this one. This is the Norton Critical Edition that has a ton of extra stuff at the end. And so I'm definitely keeping this one. Yeah, definitely keeping that. And I also have a Barnes & Noble edition up there that I have to keep because it has a bunch of other Bram Stoker novels that I do not otherwise have. So there are a few exceptions for this one. But the one I did get, the edition of Dracula that I did get, is this one. This is the Easton Press edition of Dracula. And it is magnificent, man. They did a nice job on this book, the Easton Press, like they always do. Is just not too long ago I showed off my Easton Press copy of Dune. This one, their Dracula, is really nice. This is, first of all, it's got the nice shiny end papers like they always do. And I'll go to the title page. Now this is one of their 100 best books ever written. One of their 100 best books ever written. There's Bram Stoker himself there. That's a pretty nice portrait, actually. Now, I actually think the Easton Press, I think they're 100 best books. I think there are more than 100 of them, actually. But Dracula is justifiably one of the 100. So that's kind of cool. Now, the rest of the text in this edition is from the old 1960s Heritage Press edition. Easton Press bought Heritage Press, and so all of their classic editions of classic authors they can reprint in their newer Easton Press editions. And so this has the 1960s edition from Heritage Press, and you can tell it's really nice. That was a nice edition. There were a lot of things that are really cool about that book. First of all, I like the page layout. This is chapter 1, of course, Jonathan Harker's journal. Has the date at the corner there, which is which is kind of cool. Just the look of this thing is really nice. And it has a bunch of illustrations in it that are just very of their time. These are very 1960s illustrations, the woodcut illustrations. And the illustrator in this was Felix Hoffman. And it's really cool. A bunch of really cool old illustrations. They're very, very much of their time, like I said. But they're kind of unsettling and creepy. They're kind of creepy illustrations. Like this is one of the color prints. I think that's, yeah, I think. And my color vision is sort of non-existent. But I think that is. Anyway, we've got Lucy there as she becomes a victim of Dracula. Sorry for the spoilers. I won't tell you her eventual fate. And then we've got the wolf with its head sticking through the window there. Like I said, these are cool. I like these a lot. I like these illustrations a lot. I like this edition an awful lot. Just a beautiful, beautiful looking book. There were, for this edition, or for this book, Dracula, of course, there are lots of choices. A ton of choices on Dracula. Probably the best choice out there that I saw other than this one is the Folio Society edition, which I recently saw featured on the Bookish Report, on one of the Bookish Report's videos. And it looks really nice. It looks really nice. But I didn't even try to get that one because this is the one that I had in mind. Because for a book like Dracula, I want it to look like this. I want it to look like this on the shelf. Old-timey, with the hub spine. I mean, this presentation is one thing that I wanted for this book because this just seems right for Dracula. Also, they bind books wonderfully. They are just magnificently constructed books. Really, really wonderfully done, the Easton Press. So that's why this was the one I wanted to get, and so I was pretty happy to get it. So yeah, Easton Press, Dracula. I love this book. It will forever be one of my favorite books. A book I will read over and over again. I don't know what it is about Dracula. I know that some people never reread books, and some people do. I'm one of those people that, for some reason, when it's a book like this, I always get something out of it. Even if I know exactly what's going to happen, even if the text is imprinted on my brain, I've read it so much. Somehow, not only do I get enjoyment out of this book, or out of this kind of reread, I get more than that. It's hard to explain, but I love it, and so I'm very glad to have this one. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about this particular edition of Dracula, except that it's fantastic. I might have mentioned that already. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this particular book at this particular time. Catch me tomorrow. I have another video coming up tomorrow about another project that I've got going on. It's my astounding project. It's going to be an astounding video. Of course it is. And I don't know what's coming up. It's like tomorrow's Friday. Or is it? I don't even know what day it is. Okay. I'll catch you next time.